The story begins with the memories of an outcast girl at school who is trying to hurt herself. Her classmates watch in silence. One girl steps forward and tries to stop her, but the outcast lashes out. The scene cuts, and we're taken 3 months into the future. Our main character, Song Soo-ji, enrolls at Baekhyun, an elite girls' school. Because her father serves in the South Korean army, she's had to change schools countless times. On her very first day, she's late along with a few other students. To avoid punishment, Soo-ji quickly lies to a teacher, claiming her homeroom teacher gave her permission to arrive late. The lie works and she enters the school building, instantly earning the envy of the other tardy girls. As she climbs the stairs, Soo-ji bumps into a girl called Bang Woo, who accidentally steps on her sneakers. Realizing Soo-ji is new, Bang Woo suggests she head to the teacher's lounge. Inside, Soo-ji meets her homeroom teacher, Mr. Sung-won. They immediately click, and he seems to take a liking to her. He tells her she'll be in class 5. Soo-ji notices that the other teachers in the room are watching her disapprovingly. Later, Mr. Sung-won walks Soo-ji over to her new classroom. It's in a separate building reserved just for class 5. Inside, Soo-ji greets her new classmates, but they're not particularly welcoming. She spots Bang Woo again, the same girl from the stairs. Used to being the new kid, Soo-ji quickly realizes she needs to avoid 2 types of people, the losers and the bullies. So she chooses a seat next to a girl who's asleep at her desk. Her name's Ja-eun, the same girl who was in the first scene, the one who tried to take the knife from the outcast. Soo-ji notices Ja-eun's body is covered in bruises and scars. She tries to reach out and strike up a friendship, but Ja-eun shows no interest. Before long, a few classmates approach Soo-ji. Among them is Harin, the prettiest girl in the class, and a talented composer. They act friendly, while Ja-eun slips out quietly. Soo-ji also meets Yelim, who dreams of becoming a pop idol. At that moment, Do-ya, the class president and top student, asks everyone to head to the auditorium for music class. In the next scene, it's time for music class. Soo-ji watches as the teacher scolds Ja-eun for being late. Then Yelim takes the spotlight and starts singing. The other girls clap, film her on their phones, and it quickly becomes clear Yelim is the class star. One of the students sitting near Soo-ji whispers that Yelim is about to debut and become famous. At the end of the school day, Soo-ji says goodbye to her classmates. They smile back politely, but the moment she walks out of the room, their expressions change instantly cold and unreadable. The next day, Soo-ji heads to school again, trying to figure out how to fit in. She already feels put off by Ja-eun, labeling her a loser and deciding to keep her distance. Over time, Soo-ji starts to feel more confident around the other girls. But then one day, she witnesses a group of students picking on Ja-eun. Soo-ji doesn't step in. She's afraid that if she defends her, she might become the next target. Once the bullies leave, Soo-ji cautiously approaches Ja-eun, tells her not to stay silent, and urges her to talk to her parents about what's going on. Noticing fresh cuts on Ja-eun's arms, she quietly hands her some bandages. Ja-eun, looking confused, asks what day it is. When she realizes it's the last Thursday of the month, she urgently tells Soo-ji to head back to class right away. As soon as Soo-ji walks into the room, she senses something is off. The whole class is watching her with tense, unreadable stares. Do-ya, the class president, steps up to the board, draws a triangle, and asks Soo-ji to shut the door and take her seat. Then she sends Soo-ji a link to an app called Pyramid Game. Do-ya explains that every last Thursday of the month, the class plays this game. It's optional, but not joining in means you're automatically outcast, just like Ja-eun. Here's how it works. Each student anonymously ranks her classmates from A to F. An A means you're popular. An F? That puts you at the very bottom, open season for ridicule. Girls with an F become targets, especially from the A rankers. And if the top girls give the green light, others ranked lower can join in too. Anyone who tries to defend an outcast automatically becomes the next one on the chopping block in the following game. And if no one votes for you at all, you're marked with an F by default. That's when it hits us. This class has a built-in social pyramid. At the top, the elite. At the bottom, the outcasts. Soo-ji hesitates, unsure what to do, but hoping that maybe some of the girls will back her up, she installs the app anyway. Do-ya then announces the start of the 13th round of the pyramid game. Later, Soo-ji is devastated to discover that no one voted for her, not a single person. She gets an F, and just like that, she becomes the class's next target. At home, she asks her dad if they'll be moving again anytime soon. He tells her they'll be staying put for at least 3 more months. That's when it sinks in. Soo-ji now has to survive 3 full months in this school at the very bottom of the pyramid. The next day at school, a girl named Dayeon walks right up to Suji and blows a dog whistle in her face, loud, mocking, and totally unprovoked. Suji tries to stay calm and firm, silently refusing to play into their little power games. But Dayeon eggs on her friend Seo Ha to attack her in front of the entire class. Not a single girl lifts a finger to help. Even the ones Suji once thought of as friends just sit back and watch. Later in the restroom, Suji tries to pull herself together. She checks her body and realizes there are no visible bruises. The bullies were calculated enough to avoid leaving any evidence she could report. The next day, Dayeon's at it again, using the same whistle to taunt her. And once more, the girls Suji used to trust pretend like they don't see anything. At lunch, Suji sits alone in the cafeteria. No one wants to be seen with her. No one wants to be next. Dayeon shows up at her table and casually offers her a painkiller. Suji turns it down. So Dayeon suggests a guessing game. If Suji loses, she has to swallow the pill. Suji loses but fakes taking the pill. Then she flips the script. She challenges Dayeon to guess whether she actually took it or not. If Dayeon guesses wrong, she has to promise not to mess with her, at least until tomorrow. This time, Dayeon loses. The next day, Suji decides she needs proof. She goes to check the school's hallway security cameras, hoping to collect evidence of the bullying. But when she gets there, she finds the cameras have been taken down. With no other option, she turns on her phone's voice recorder and starts gathering audio herself. On her way back to class, she bumps into Harin. For the first time, Harin shows a flicker of empathy and quietly encourages her to hang in there. But Suji doesn't even make it to her seat. Bang Woo spots the recording app running on her phone, snatches it out of her hands, and takes a look. That's when she notices something else. Suji has started her period. Bang Woo goes to Suji's locker, pulls out her sanitary pads, and cuts them up in front of the entire class, laughing while she does it. Then she tells the other girls not to share any supplies with her. From that moment on, the bullying escalates. Every day it's something new. The class gets more creative with their cruelty, while putting on a perfect act for the homeroom teacher, pretending like they're all best friends with Suji. In the next scene, Dayeon publicly announces a new rule. From now on, anyone ranked below A is allowed to bully the F-ranked student. The class lights up. Most of the girls take full advantage of the green light, including Suji's old friends. That night, Suji realizes she won't survive 3 more months of this. She makes a decision. She's going to win the pyramid game, no matter what it takes. Meanwhile, Jaeyoon is spiraling. She imagines herself jumping into an empty swimming pool, but it's just a terrifying daydream. The thought scares her so much, she snaps out of it before it turns real. Back at school, Suji checks the current rankings and sees something strange. Despite being adored by everyone, Ye Lim has a B. Dayen and Doa are still sitting comfortably at the top with A ranks. And only 2 girls, Jaeyoon and Suji, have received no votes at all. Then Jaeyoon quietly walks into class and takes her seat. Right there in front of everyone, Suji stands up and loudly offers her friendship, making sure the entire class hears it. After class, Suji approaches Jaeyoon with a bold idea. Team up and get out of F rank together. Jaeyoon is surprised to learn Suji's at the bottom too, after all. She always seemed to be getting along with everyone. Suji shares her plan, create conflict between 2 students who each have a single vote and are sitting at D rank. If they drop, she and Jaeyoon could take their place. But Jaeyoon refuses. She doesn't want to hurt anyone, even if it means saving herself. Meanwhile, Daeyoon and her crew are already 2 steps ahead. They leak intel that Suji and Jaeyoon are plotting to climb into D rank. We don't see who the leader is, only a glimpse of sleek white Gucci sneakers. Later, Suji meets a new girl named Yoon Bio. She asks Suji to meet her in the music room after school. She has something important to say. There, Yoon Bio confesses she used to be close friends with Jaeyoon. The 2 of them used to vote for each other in the pyramid game to keep one another afloat. But one day, Yoon Bio sided with someone else, betraying Jaeyoon in the process. The result? Jaeyoon lost her last vote and fell to F rank. Yoon Bio has been carrying the guilt ever since, and now she wants to make it right. After another class, Daeyoon corners Suji again with that same dog whistle. This time, her 2 friends grab Suji and force a box of worms into her mouth. Suji fights them off and spits everything out. Bang Woo picks the worms off the floor and starts stuffing them into Suji's clothes, all while humming a familiar tune from the pyramid game app. That melody triggers something in Suji. She's heard it before, but can't quite remember where. Cut to the principal's office. A mystery student is sitting there smoking. We don't see her face, only those same white Gucci sneakers. Jaeyoon walks in. The mystery girl approaches her, bringing the lit cigarette dangerously close to her eye. Scared, Jaehyun gives in and agrees to whatever she's asked. The story flashes back to a month earlier. We see the school principal talking to the same mystery girl about the upcoming transfer of a new student, Suji. The girl requests that Suji be placed into Class 5. Back in the present, Suji finally remembers where she heard that song. Harin was humming it in the hallway. Suji also notices something else. Harin, who holds an A rank, is the only person the bullies actually listen to. That's when a theory starts forming in Suji's mind. What if Harin is the true mastermind behind the pyramid game? We get a quick scene where Harin draws lipstick on Jaehyun's face, mocking her. Then she walks back into class and sees the other girls messing with Suji again. Without hesitation, Harin tells them to stop and they instantly obey. She even helps Suji back to her feet. In that moment, Suji becomes sure of it. Harin is the one pulling all the strings. She's not just playing the game, she's running it. But Suji chooses to keep that realization to herself. She thanks Harin and quietly leaves the classroom. On the bus ride home, Suji reflects on everything that's happened. Meanwhile, we catch a glimpse into Harin's life. She's at home, casually getting style advice from a luxury personal shopper. From the upscale decor and the way the staff treats her, it's clear Harin comes from serious wealth. She thinks back to a recent moment in the principal's office, when Jaehyun had pleaded with her, begged her not to hurt anyone else, especially the new girl, Suji. Meanwhile, the teachers hold a staff meeting at school. One of them, Cho-ah, brings up the ongoing bullying in her class. But when the principal asks whether the victims come from influential families and hears they don't, she brushes it off. In her eyes, it's just harmless teasing, nothing serious enough to step in. Back in class, Suji becomes the target again. This time, someone throws a trash bag over her. When she's finally freed, she's too shaken to stand up. Her classmates just laugh. That's when Do-ah calls the end of break, and everyone calmly returns to their seats like nothing happened. Suji starts to realize something. Maybe there's a reason Class 5 is kept in a separate building. Maybe Harin isn't the only one behind the pyramid game. Trying to dig deeper, Suji goes to see Mr. Sungwon. She asks why there are no surveillance cameras in their building. Another teacher cuts in before he can answer, saying cameras aren't needed. There's only one class there. She adds that Do-ah, as the school's top student and class rep, is considered responsible enough to report anything unusual. Suji glances down and notices Do-ah's student profile lying on the desk. That's when she learns something interesting. Do-ah's father is the director of a hospital called Sosim. In the next scene, Suji looks up the hospital online. Turns out Sosim has close ties with the school and is one of its main sponsors. At the same time, we see private lessons taking place, but only for the wealthier students. They're being taught etiquette and leadership, like they're being groomed for elite roles. Elsewhere, Dayan gets a text from her sister. Their dad is furious and waiting for her at home with a bat in hand. Tense and overwhelmed, Dayan grabs a lower-ranking student and drags her off, clearly looking for someone to take her frustration out on. Suji runs into Harin at a vending machine. Pretending she still doesn't know Harin is behind the pyramid game, Suji casually brings up the system and asks who came up with it. Harin simply says it might have been someone who enjoys watching fear and desperation in the eyes of those stuck at the bottom. Suji then asks why she became the next target. Wasn't Jaehyun already filling the role of the outcast? Harin says it's not Suji's fault, then walks away. Back in the classroom, Suji gets called out by Ji for leaving without permission during break. It's loud, public, and humiliating, clearly part of the ongoing pressure campaign. Later that day, Suji catches up with Jaehyun again. This time she deliberately lets herself cry, hoping to spark some sympathy. She tries once more to bring up the idea of exchanging votes, the same plan she had earlier. But Jaehyun refuses. She still doesn't want to play the game. Instead, she offers to help Suji find other students who might agree to vote trades, but no one is willing to help. Suji returns to Jaehyun again, practically begging to trade votes just to get out of F rank and move up to D. Once again, Jaehyun refuses. She's not going to take part in the pyramid game, no matter the cost. Suji meets with Eun Boyo privately and learns that she and Jaehyun were once new at school together and quickly became best friends. Alarm bells go off in Suji's head. She worries that if Eun Boyo reconnects with Jaehyun, she'll be completely sidelined. Determined to avoid that, she vows to do whatever it takes to stay in the loop. Later, Suji gets a call from her dad. He asks her to deliver an important document, so she heads to the military base in Seoul and hands it over. There, he breaks the news. The move to a new school is off. They're settling in Seoul for the long haul. That realization hits hard. Between school and the way things work in South Korea, she's got at least 2 more years of high school ahead, and now she's facing all that bullying for the foreseeable future. Meanwhile, everyone realizes Ja-yoon hasn't been at school for days. That means Soo-ji is now the only student left with an F and the one fresh target. At the same time, Harun recalls overhearing a conversation between Soo-ji and Jae-yoon. She'd warned Jae-yoon that forging any new friendships, especially with Soo-ji, was forbidden. No alliances allowed. The whole class gathers in the auditorium, where Ha-rin performs a ballet dance. During the performance, Soo-ji accidentally drops her phone. It rings out loud and distracts the audience. Mortified, doesn't even begin to cover how embarrassed she feels. After the show, Da Yeon corners Soo-ji in the library and pulls out a shotgun, warning her she could be taken out of the game right then and there. Bang Woo smiles, tossing a toy rabbit on the floor and taunting Soo-ji to behave like a hunting dog. But Soo-ji refuses to back down. She holds her ground, eyes nailed to the barrel, pushing her fear aside. Eventually, Da-yeon pulls the trigger, but it's only loaded with blanks. A loud bang, no harm done. Soo-ji walks out shaken and runs into Ye-lim. That's when they spot Ha-rin walking out of the principal's office with her mother, the school's director, right beside her. Ye-lim whispers that Ha-rin isn't just the director's daughter, she's also the granddaughter of the CEO of Baekhyun, one of South Korea's top 3 conglomerates. That company funds much of the school's operations. At dinner that evening, Ha-rin and her father, Mr. Bak, meet with the families of Da Yeon and Do-ah. Their fathers are business partners and often dine together. The tension around the table is thick. They're practically negotiating friendships for their daughters. During the meal, Ha-rin asks her dad to increase the scholarship for a talented but underprivileged classmate, Eun Jong, a competitive swimmer. He hesitates, but after Ha-rin whispers something in his ear, he agrees. Meanwhile, Soo-ji is sitting outside a store when Sung-hwa, an employee, offers her a triangular kimbap, no charge, because it expired just 10 minutes ago. A small but kind gesture in an otherwise harsh world. At the same time, Ja-yoon is at home, typing an email. It's a heartfelt note expressing her decision to leave the school entirely. The next day, Soo-ji runs into her homeroom teacher, Mr. Sung-won. Just as she's about to speak with him privately about the bullying, Do-ah shows up and says the principal wants to see him. The following day, during PE class, Mr. Sung-won and the other teachers witness the girls from Class 5 behaving aggressively towards Soo-ji on the playground. Seizing the moment, Soo-ji asks him to escort her to the nurse's office. Do-ah volunteers to go instead, but Mr. Sung-won insists she stay in class and takes Soo-ji himself. But instead of heading to the nurse, Soo-ji leads him to the faculty break room. There she opens up about the harassment she's been enduring. Mr. Sung-won, trying to document the incident, pulls out his phone and asks Soo-ji to show any physical injuries. She admits she doesn't have visible marks. Meanwhile, the girls from Class 5 are already gossiping in a group chat, mocking Soo-ji for trusting him. Back in the break room, Mr. Sung-won keeps filming her and even starts boiling water in a kettle. Then he says something chilling, that if she doesn't have physical proof, they'll just have to create it. When Soo-ji tries to escape, he strikes her. He's about to pour the scalding water on her when someone knocks on the door. It's Ja-yoon. In the moment of distraction, Soo-ji manages to shove him away and open the door. Ja-yoon spots the kettle and hurls it straight at his phone, destroying the recording. Sung-won chases after them, but it's just in time for the break between classes. The hallways fill with students and he's forced to back off. Ja-yoon takes Soo-ji to the rooftop and shows her a video. It's Woo-ri, a former student from Class 5. Ja-yoon explains that Woo-ri was once the prime target of the bullying. Desperate for help, she had gone to Mr. Sung-won, who pretended to support her, but secretly filmed her vulnerability. Later, he blackmailed her family for money. Not long after, Woo-ri disappeared from school. Officially, she transferred, but in reality, she was another silent casualty of the pyramid system. Ja-yoon confesses she's been seriously thinking about dropping out, but Soo-ji urges her to stay and fight, to join the upcoming vote in the game. Even if they're scared, she says, this might be their one chance to change things. She asks her to just think about it, reminding her that tomorrow is voting day, and together they might finally put an end to this toxic system. The next day at lunch, tension builds as cracks begin to show in the friendship between Ji-I and Soo-mi. Ha-rin watches the shift quietly, while Soo-ji is visibly upset that Ja-yoon didn't show up to school again. But just as the pyramid game vote approaches, Ja-yoon walks into the room, and this time, she's ready to vote. After the monthly pyramid game vote, Soo-ji moves up to rank C with 5 votes. Ja-yoon lands at rank D with 2 votes. Ji-ae, the bespectacled girl, falls all the way to F with 0 votes. Soo-ji is relieved by her rise, but Ja-yoon is worried about Ji-ae. It turns out Ji-ae's best friend, Seung-yi, betrayed her and didn't vote for her after a fight. Suji starts to wonder who else, even beyond Ja-yoon, might have voted for her. Ji-ae reaches out to Seung-yi, but is ignored. Bang-woo asks Harin what they should do next, but Harin acts as if she doesn't know what they're talking about and walks out of class. Outside, Suji tells Ja-yoon she's done trying to break the pyramid game. After all, rank C makes her practically untouchable. Ja-yoon calls her a liar. Suji defends herself, pointing out that in this world, everyone looks out for themselves, and she did just that. Later, Harin approaches Suji to congratulate her on escaping rank F. Even though Suji knows she's the one behind the game, she chooses not to challenge Harin and plays along, acting friendly. Back in class, the girls treat Suji like nothing ever happened, as if she's been a friend all along. Dayoon's group starts targeting Ji-ae once more, but Do-ah steps in and reminds them that the official bullying period doesn't begin until tomorrow. Suji heads to the store again to buy a triangular kimbap, this time to give to Seung-hwa. When she pays, Seung-hwa notices the pyramid game app installed on her phone. At that exact moment, Suji gets added to the class group chat. Soon, her phone fills up with messages from classmates, one after the other, sweet emojis and friendly notes. But instead of feeling warm, Suji's annoyed. Just yesterday, they were spitting on her, and now they're lining up like she's part of the crew. The next day, she pretends to forget their past cruelty and chats with the girls. They mention that Harin will be absent. She's traveling with her family. Meanwhile, Harin is at home badly scalding a child's hand, then telling her not to tell anyone, threatening consequences. The kid runs inside crying while Harin returns to her family's lavish home, where presents are being handed out. Her grandmother dotes on her, insisting her mother fully support Harin, hoping she'll one day rule the school. Later, in the school restroom, Ye-lim confesses to Suji that she voted for her to help lift her out of rank F. Suji asks what Ye-lim wants in return. Ye-lim says she doesn't expect anything. At home, Suji replays Ye-lim's words and starts wondering who else voted for her. The next day during class, Mr. Sung-won asks everyone to swap papers and grade each other's work, an assignment from the principal but really Harin's idea. Do-ah instructs them to grade based on quality. Ji-ae receives the lowest grade, while Harin, top of the class, gets the highest. Suji watches this unfold and realizes something powerful. The pyramid game has twisted everyone's mindset, making them believe their schoolwork should match their social rank. The next morning, Suji wakes up from a nightmare she dreamt she'd fallen back to an F rank. At school, she brings up a concern. What if the voting system in the app isn't as fair as it seems? She points out how the same people always stay at the top, so she suggests doing a manual vote on paper, and Do-ah is assigned to count the ballots. Ye-won, the student who actually built the app, objects. She insists the system can't be rigged, otherwise she wouldn't be stuck at rank D herself. But despite her protests, the majority agrees to go through with the paper vote. Each student writes down who they voted for just to compare it with the app results and spot any inconsistencies. Once the votes are counted, Do-ah announces that the paper results match what's shown in the app. Suji apologizes to Ye-won for doubting her. Then she heads off to the teacher's office to turn in the class assignments. But before that, she secretly swaps out the stack of handwritten ballots. Do-ah notices the switch but doesn't say a word. Later, Suji uses the fake set of votes to analyze her classmates' handwriting. From this, she confirms who else voted for her besides Ye-lim and Ja-yoon. Turns out it was Harin, Daeyeon, and Bang-woo. That's when it hits her. If Harin decides to turn against her, she could drag Suji back to the bottom anytime she wants. The next day, Suji tries to strengthen her ties with the rest of the class. When Bang-woo and Dayoon start picking on Ji-ae, forcing her to act like a cat and even try some pet food, Ja-yoon steps in to stop it. But Bang-woo doubles down. If Ja-yoon really wants to protect Ji-ae, then she should eat it instead. Out of nowhere, Harin stands up, steps in, and makes Bang-woo apologize. She plays the role of the kind, fair classmate in front of everyone. Suji is stunned by the performance and throws a pen in Harin's direction. Then she pretends it was a mistake and says it was meant for Ja-yoon. She apologizes. Bang-woo tries to slap Suji for it, but Harin stops her, saying it was just an accident. Once again, Harin is doing everything she can to maintain her image as the sweet, caring student. Suji decides to use that image to her advantage. She asks Harin, as someone at the top of the pyramid, to help stop the bullying of Ji-ae. But Harin plays innocent. She says she's just another student like everyone else and has no power to intervene. Right then, the literature teacher walks into the class. Jaeyoon quickly turns Ja's face away to hide the marker scribbles. The rest of the class pretends like nothing is wrong. The teacher asks what's going on, but Do-ah casually explains that it's just break time and they're playing. The teacher leaves, clearly suspicious but saying nothing. Afterward, Suji asks Ji for her phone number, then heads to the rooftop alone. Ja-eun finds her there. They talk and agree to team up to take the pyramid system down from the inside. Later, they meet up with Ga at a convenience store. Ga, holding back tears, starts to share her memories. She says the class wasn't always like this. The original idea for the pyramid game came from Daeyeon. Back then, students would vote for someone they were grateful to, and the reward was something simple, like getting to be first in the lunch line. But over time, things twisted. The girls at the top began to look down on those below them, and then the mocking started. Eventually, Woo Ri became the main target. She couldn't take it anymore and dropped out. The next day in the library, Suji runs into Do-ah. She thanks her because Ja-eun confided that it was Do-ah who sent her the video of Woo Ri, and that Do-ah stayed silent about the ballot swap. Do-ah explains she didn't want Suji to get hurt. Suji seizes the moment and proposes an alliance, noting that Do-ah seems uneasy about the bullying of F-rank students. But Do-ah admits that as long as it's not her being targeted, she's not interested in challenging anything. Meanwhile, Ha-rin, Daeyeon, and Bang-woo notice Do-ah and Suji exiting the library together and start to suspect Do-ah might turn on them. In response, Suji, Ja-eun, and Ga decide to keep a close eye on the top-ranked girls. What Suji uncovers is chilling. Every girl at the top has parents who are wealthy and powerful enough to pressure the lower-ranked families. Later, Ha-rin and Bang-woo visit an art gallery. Ha-rin offers Bang-woo an expensive painting, but only in exchange for absolute loyalty. She reveals she once trusted just Do-ah and Daeyeon, her childhood friends, but is now starting to doubt Do-ah's loyalty too. The next day, the trio, Suji, Ja-eun, and Ga meet at a store. Suji lays out a plan. To secure rank C, they each need 5 votes. Tricking themselves alone won't cut it. They need help from 3 more girls. If the number of C-rank students outnumbers those at D rank, the pyramid begins to collapse, putting the whole system at risk. Ga doubts it's possible, but Suji pulls out printed class profiles she snapped in the teacher's room. With that intel, Suji believes they can pinpoint potential allies. The next day, they start reaching out. Suji finds it easy to connect with classmates, but Ja-eun struggles, her introversion and lack of confidence holding her back. Suji notices Eunjong is particularly close with Yelim, so she begins observing them. Later, a teacher asks Ja-eun about possible bullying in class, but Ha-rin intervenes, escorting her away under the guise that Ja-eun needs help with something. Meanwhile, Suji speaks with Yewon, the app's creator. She notices Yewon is unhappy in her rank D status and plots to leverage that. At the same time, Ha-rin corners Ja-eun to ask what Suji is up to. Ja-eun gets a message from Suji and heads to the rooftop without explaining the interaction with Ha-rin. Up on the roof, Suji begins thinking of hacking classmates' phones to gather intel. Ja-eun calls it illegal, but Suji is determined. She devises another plan to persuade Yewon to breach the app on their behalf. Suji asks Ja-eun to befriend Yewon. But just as they're ready to do that, they see Yelim talking with Yewon. The girls overhear Yelim asking about Yewon's new Apple MacBook Pro. While Ja-eun tries to get closer to Yewon, Suji stays back in the classroom. Sitting at her desk, she looks up the price of that new laptop and rereads Yewon's student profile. That's when it hits her. Yewon's dad works retail, and her mom is a homemaker. No way she could afford something that expensive on her own. The file also mentions that Yewon is ambitious, but has a tendency to accept special treatment. That's when Suji puts it together. The laptop must have been a gift from Ha-rin. And if that's true, this could all be a setup. She calls Jaloon to warn her, but there's no answer. Her suspicions turn out to be right. Yewon lured Jaloon straight into a trap, all orchestrated by Ha-rin. Luckily, Suji shows up just in time and stops things before they get out of hand. Later, Ji panics when she realizes Ha-rin might have found out about their plan. Suji does her best to calm her down, assuring her that Ha-rin doesn't know the full story. Meanwhile, a teacher named Soyo asks Mr. Sungwon, the homeroom teacher, if he can arrange for the students to see a counselor, but he couldn't care less and completely brushes her off. At the same time, Ji gets targeted by her classmates again and ends up hiding in the bathroom. When the others leave, Sung-yi, her former friend who once betrayed her, walks in. She tries to get Ji to spill the details of Suji's plan, then immediately runs off to report back to Ha-rin. Meanwhile, Sunghwa notices the pyramid game app on Suji's phone. And here's the twist. He's actually the brother of Woo Ri, the girl who was bullied so badly she had to leave school. Later during class, Suji starts suspecting that Yoon Jung might have feelings for Ye Lim and that the two might even be secretly dating. On the school rooftop, Suji, Jaeyoon, and Ji meet to figure out their next move. Jaeyoon admits she used to be friends with Harin. That sends us into a flashback. She's just a kid playing the Korean version of Red Light, Green Light with Harin Yes, the same game from Squid Game. It turns out the two of them used to be inseparable. Back in the present, Da-yeon tries to invite Harin over for dinner on her dad's orders, but Harin turns her down. That night, Da-yeon's dad scolds her harshly for failing. We learn he's a controlling and ambitious man, hoping to cozy up to Harin's family for business reasons. He wants Da-yeon to befriend her no matter what. In another scene, we see Do-ae's father, the director of Sosim Hospital, remind his daughter that keeping a good relationship with Harin is crucial for their family's future. Back at school, Suji tells her friends about Yi-na, a student who avoids voting for the people she hangs out with. Suji sends her a message asking to meet, then heads to the bathroom. At that moment, a teacher hears someone crying inside and runs into Suji shortly afterward, asking what's going on in class. But Suji, remembering Mr. Sungwon's apathy and her father's advice to solve problems on her own, decides to keep quiet. During her meeting with Yi-na, Suji quickly realizes what's going on. Yi-na deliberately avoids voting for her friends, scared they'll outgrow her rank if they get too many votes. Sensing that fear, Suji pressures her, subtly threatening to expose her secret if she refuses to cooperate. Backed into a corner, Yi-na agrees to support Suji's group in the next round of voting. That evening, on her way home, Suji and Ja-eun spot Sunghwa heading toward the school building and decide to follow. Inside Class 5's empty room, Suji confronts him. He admits he's Woo Ri's brother, the once targeted classmate, and reveals she's still alive but hasn't left her room since leaving the school, traumatized by what she endured. Sunghwa then discloses something remarkable. He's a talented hacker, internationally recognized and awarded in cybersecurity. He came to the school to uncover the truth behind his sister's disappearance. Suji realizes his skills are far more advanced than Yi-won's app abilities and decides they must recruit him to their plan. The next day, Suji meets Sunghwa at the convenience store and invites him to join their group so he can find out what really happened to his sister. He agrees. His first move? He hacks the phone of a student named Jae-hyung. It turns out she's a hardcore K-pop fan with heaps of personal material saved on her phone. The following day, Sunghwa reports back to Suji. She and Jaeyoon brainstorm how to use this info to win Jae-hyung over. Sunghwa suggests blackmail, but Jaeyoon refuses to go that route. Instead, she tries a genuine friendship and succeeds. Now they have 2 more votes on their side. Suji also targets Ye Lim, but news breaks that Ye Lim won an art contest, and Suji suspects Harin helped her win. With that, Suji decides to change course. Jie suggests going after Sung Yi, a former friend of theirs. Though Suji still struggles to fully trust both Ji and Jaeyoon, she gives in. Late that night, she asks Sunghwa to dig up dirt on Sung Yi. He finds something that exposes her vulnerabilities. Suji then sends Sung Yi a message threatening to reveal her secret if she refuses to cooperate. The next day, just 1 day before the monthly vote, the principal hosts a meeting with the parents of all 5th group students. Suji's father attends, but the other parents ignore him. Teacher So-yo asks him directly if he's aware of the bullying his daughter is facing. Meanwhile, Suji tries to pull Ye Lim into her inner circle. She subtly hints that she knows about Ye Lim's relationship with Yoon Jung, but Ye Lim rejects the offer of alliance. Out of nowhere, a message pops up in the group chat from Sung Yi, begging Suji to stop blackmailing her and threatening to hurt herself if it doesn't end. Panic spreads instantly. The girls rush to the room where Sung Yi has locked herself in. They manage to find a key, get inside, and take a knife from her. Moments later, Suji shows up, and the whole class turns to face her. Harin steps forward and accuses Suji of pushing Sung Yi to the edge. That's when Suji realizes this whole thing was a setup, a trap carefully staged by Harin to paint her as the villain. Turns out, it was all just a performance. Sung Yi agreed to fake the breakdown under Harin's direction. The rest of the class joins in, shouting at Suji, blaming her for what just happened. At the same time, So-yo informs Suji's father about the toxic dynamics in Class 5, hinting that his daughter might be a target. She brings the parents into another room, and just as they arrive, they witness the students accusing Suji of bullying Sung Yi. Then Harin's mother, the school principal, steps in and basically shrugs it off, saying the students have their own way of handling things and parents shouldn't interfere. The students hold a vote to decide how to punish Suji, while the parents watch everything unfold from behind the classroom window. Standing alone in front of the class, Suji waits for her sentence. She knows she technically broke a rule, bullying someone with a D rank. Da Yeon suggests banning her from the next pyramid vote. Suji protests, demanding proof from Sung-yi, but Sung-yi has nothing, so Da-yeon calls for a vote and outside the parents nod in approval, thinking the kids are solving things democratically. Only So-yo looks concerned and wants to step in, but Ha-rin's mother warns her that interfering will only make Suji's life worse. In the end, 21 students vote to strip Suji of her right to vote. Defeated, Suji and her group head to the school rooftop. There she gets a message from Yi Lim saying she won't be voting for Suji anymore. And if Suji tries to pressure her, she'll react the same way Sung-yi did. That's when it really sinks in. Ja-eun had been right all along. Real friendship gets you further than manipulation ever could. Even though Ye-na has left the group, Jae-hyung is still with them. But Suji can't shake the feeling. How did Ha-rin know their strategy ahead of time? Back in class, she walks in just as Ha-rin is giving a full-on presentation about the pyramid game, even inviting the parents to try a demo round. Ha-rin's mom tries to shut it down, but her grandmother, a powerful figure in the school, gives the green light. The mock vote begins. Everyone participates, except Suji's dad. As a result, Suji gets 0 votes and is pushed back down to F rank. Luckily, this round was only for show. The real vote for the students is tomorrow. Then Ha-rin turns to Suji's father and asks what he thinks about the pyramid game. He responds that school is just like real life. Hierarchy is everywhere. Suji is stunned by his words and asks if he even understands what students with an F rank have to go through. Right there in front of everyone, she makes it clear. The pyramid game has to end, and she's going to be the one to do it. Impressed by her determination, Ha-rin's grandmother walks up to Suji's father and shakes his hand, a silent gesture of respect for raising such a bold daughter. After class ends, Suji spots a hidden camera atop the classroom whiteboard. She suspects Seunghwa planted it. The next day, Ye Lim confronts Ha-rin, pointing out that involving parents in the pyramid game last night was against the rules. She demands Ha-rin be punished, just like Suji was, since the system explicitly forbids adult interference. It turns out Ye Lim has decided to support Suji after Suji assured her she wouldn't blackmail her or expose her private relationship. Ha-rin polls the class. Do they agree with Ye Lim? Because Ye Lim is still the most popular student, the majority backs her. An anonymous vote is held, and 13 students vote against Ha-rin. She's stripped of her voting rights too. Suji instructs Ja-eun to vote for Ye Lim instead of her. Suji's plan is to purposefully fall back to rank F, and with the hidden camera in place, gather more proof of the school's toxic hierarchy. During the next PE class, when the gym is empty, Ha-rin discovers the camera, realizing it was Seunghwa's doing. Later, Ye Lim's friend shows her an article claiming Ye Lim's father built the gym to bribe the principal. Furious, Eun-jong demands to know who leaked it, since the information was insider only. When another student taunts Ye Lim, Eun-jong slaps her. While examining the article's photo, Ha-rin notices it's taken from a high angle, just like the hidden camera's placement. Eun-jong inspects the room and finds the camera just as Suji expected. Suji immediately figures out that Sung-yi, it turns out the owner of an anonymous hate-filled Instagram account targeting Ye Lim, must have been the one who posted the article. But she also knows no one will believe her accusation. Tension skyrockets between Ye Lim and Eun-jong after the slap. As Eun-jong tries to apologize, Ha-rin insists they first retrieve the memory card from the camera to confirm who set it up. At that moment, So-yo enters the room. She declares the camera is hers, smashes it in front of everyone, and quits on the spot. Then she gives Suji her phone number and urges her to destroy the pyramid game once and for all. In a flashback, we see So-yo had gathered proof of systematic bullying in Class 5 and presented it to the principal, but was immediately fired and threatened to stay silent. Suji deduces what happened. Ga must have told Sung-yi about the hidden camera when they reconciled, and Sung-yi passed that tip to Ha-rin. Furious at the betrayal, Suji kicks Ga out of their group. Then Suji and Ja-eun return to the classroom for the monthly vote. This time, Suji, Ga, and Ja-eun each get a rank of D, while Ye Lim holds on to A. But unexpectedly, Eun Byeol, the student once mocked as an outcast, surges into A. No one falls into F. Da Yeon is upset. Her rank has dropped to B, and Harin, despite losing her vote, remains in A, but is visibly shaken that Ja-eun didn't land in F like she'd wanted. After the latest monthly vote, Da Yeon confides in Do-ah, saying she's not buying the fact that she dropped to rank B. She suspects Harin might have tampered with the results. Meanwhile, things between Ye Lim and Eun-jong are getting tense. Ye Lim makes it clear that her main focus now is debuting as a K-pop idol, not school politics. Suji, watching it all unfold, finally realizes that Ja-eun's kind and genuine approach to her classmates is way more effective than the manipulative tactics Suji once used herself, and that Harin is still relying on. With that, Suji apologizes to Seung-yi and finally lets go of her resentment toward Gi. Later, Harin corners Ye-won in private and tries to get her to leak the voting data. At the same time, a complete transformation is happening in the classroom. Ever since Yoonbiol got bumped up to rank A, she's become a whole new person. Bossy, confident, and now ordering Dayeon around like she owns the place. That's when it hits Suji. Yoonbiol was Harin's secret weapon all along. And she's right. Yoonbiol agreed to be Harin's undercover agent in exchange for the answers to the upcoming exams. Later, Suji's group takes Yelim to meet Seung-hwa at a shop. As soon as he sees her, he recognizes her. She's the girl from the photos hanging in his sister's room. Suji lays it out. It's time to team up and shatter the perfect image Harin has built for herself in front of the class. The next day is cleaning day, and just as Harin and Yoonbiol are about to sneak off, Suji stops them and asks them to help. Yoonbiol refuses, citing her A-rank privileges, but Suji points out that Yelim, also rank A, is helping without complaint. Dayeon, clearly triggered, hurls a textbook at Suji, but Suji doesn't even flinch. Dayeon's no longer at the top of the food chain. In the end, Harin agrees to stay and help clean. Cut to a flashback. Ye-won actually refused to leak the voting results to Harin, saying it wouldn't be fair. After school, Suji heads to visit Ja-eun, and on the way, notices bruises on her arm. Ja-eun brushes it off, saying she got them while trying to fix a broken sink. When they arrive at Ja-eun's home, Suji realizes she lives in a poor and remote part of town. Once inside, Suji rolls up her sleeves and fixes the sink herself. The two sit down to eat some instant noodles and open up to each other. Suji shares that her mom is no longer around, and Ja-eun explains that her mom is working in Busan. She plans to move in with her after graduation. Ja-eun says she wants to become a civil servant, while Suji admits she dreams of becoming a documentary filmmaker. Just then, a message pops up on Ja-eun's phone. It's from Harin, and Suji notices. She asks how long they've known each other. Ja-eun says they were close friends back in elementary school. Cue flashback. Little Harin boasts about her wealthy parents, then asks Ja-eun to pay for her snacks because she spent all her money on a new Nintendo. Ja-eun agrees without question. Back in the present, Suji meets with Jae-hyung and Ye-lim and asks for help spreading a rumor, one that paints Ja-eun as a victim who ended up in rank F after being betrayed by her best friend. The plan works. Classmates start to see Ja-eun in a new light, warm, kind, and genuine. She begins gaining more support and sympathy, which seriously frustrates Harin. Her plan to turn Ja-eun into an outcast is falling apart. Over the weekend, Harin heads to Seoul to pay a visit to Ja-eun's mother. Meanwhile, Suji's father arrives home with some news. He's been transferred to another city, meaning Suji will have to switch schools next month. She watches the evening news, wondering if she has enough time to dismantle the pyramid game before she leaves. The next day, Suji persuades Ye-lim to speak up in class, urging the removal of A-rank privileges, especially since no one holds an F-rank anymore. She also asks Ye-lim to demand public apologies from Dayeon and Bangwoo for the beating they gave Ja-eun, which left bruises, clearly a breach of the game's rules. When Dayeon and Bangwoo deny everything, Suji declares she witnessed them attacking Ja-eun in the storage room months earlier. Harin, watching closely, interrupts. She guarantees that the next ranking will include at least one F-rank, and if not, she'll fully support abolishing A-rank privileges. That evening, Ja-eun texts her mother to share the incident and learns So-in visited her mom. Panic sets in, she drops her phone, and for the next 2 days, she doesn't come to school. Suji repeatedly calls her, but gets no answer. On her way home, Suji sees one of her father's supervisors unloading luxury gift bags from a Bacon-branded car, the same company known to have ties to Harin. Piecing it together, she realizes this man arranged her father's transfer, likely bribed by Harin to remove her from the picture and protect her pyramid. Suji calls Jae-eun, But Harin unexpectedly answers. She's at Jaeyoon's house. Harin cuts off the call, citing being busy. Then she confronts Jaeyoon in person, claiming Jaeyoon's mother deserves the truth about the bullying. Jaeyoon, looking guilty, confesses it was her fault. Then, shockingly, Harin burns Jaeyoon's hand with a lighter. In that moment, Suji bursts in, accusing Harin of using money and influence to force Suji's father's transfer, saying she won't back down. She vows with conviction to destroy the pyramid game once and for all. The next day, Jaeyoon finally returns to school. She tells Suji she has a major secret to share once the game is over. Before class, they head to the convenience store where Sunghwa works. He shows them a folder full of audio recordings from Suji's phone, documenting Harin's bullying. He plans to publish them via an international YouTube channel. Sunghwa worries Suji might face the same fate as his sister, Woo-ri, but Suji refuses to back down. It turns out she had switched phones with Dua over the weekend so she could access recordings since Dua was always near Harin. Monday comes and Suji returns Dua's phone. After school, she and her friends head to the store to listen to all the audio evidence. The next day, the girls head to PE. In the locker room, Eunbil surprises Suji with unexpected news. It seems there's a special lesson ahead. When the teacher is a no-show, Eunbil steps up and begins announcing bizarre new exam rules. Each student must hit the classmate with the fewest pyramid game votes 6 times with a ball. Suji instantly recognizes Harin's plan. She's setting it up so one F-rank student gets eliminated by 4 students ranked D. Suji texts Yelim to subtly tweak the rules. As an A-rank student with credibility, Yelim suggests using 3 different balls, 1 per rank. But on the field, chaos erupts. Balls are flying everywhere. Soon, Jia becomes the target of a barrage and Jaeyoon steps in to shield her. Seizing the moment, Suji asks the girls holding the balls to stop and just hold them. When Jaeyoon yells to resume, Suji gently taps her shoulder with the ball, and that counts as a hit under the vague rule wording. 1 point awarded. That clever loophole spreads like wildfire across the class, infuriating Harin's clique. After class, the 4 friends retreat to the school rooftop for a quiet lunch and a snooze and plot their next move. Meanwhile, an angry Harin calls Jaeyoon's strict father, demanding she be punished at home. Faced with that pressure, Jaeyoon has no choice but to comply, knowing any trouble could jeopardize her father's career. That evening, Harin corners Eunjeong and Yelim alone in the classroom, threatening to expose their secret relationship online. Yelim stands firm. Her influential parents back her idle dreams. But Harin menacingly reminds her that her parents don't support her K-pop debut, and if she fails now, she might never get the chance. Yelim struggles to stay composed, while Eunjeong collapses to her knees, begging Harin not to destroy Yelim's career. At that same moment, over at home, Jaeyoon is punished harshly by her father after the call from Harin. Her mother watches silently, doing nothing to intervene. At Harin's house, her father, Mr. Bayek, comes home to find her deep in a phone conversation. He suggests to his wife that they should send Harin abroad, but she quickly shuts that down, reminding him that their daughter holds evidence of shady financial activity inside his company. And that makes her impossible to control. That's exactly how Harin forced him to increase school funding, by using leverage. He asks why his mother is so obsessed with Harin. His wife answers simply, Harin inherited her grandmother's talent for manipulating people. Later, Harin sends Suji a photo of her father shaking hands with Harin's grandmother. It's a clear threat, a warning shot, asking if Suji still plans to release the audio files. And that's when Suji realizes something awful. Do-ah must have told Harin about the phone swap. Then her dad walks in, holding a folder stamped with the Baekin logo. Turns out, Harin's grandmother recently contacted him and invited him to join a charity project, and he accepted. That's when Suji receives another bombshell from Harin, a fake article claiming her dad used her admission to an elite school as a networking opportunity to climb the corporate ladder. If published, the story could land her father in serious legal trouble. Shaken, Suji heads to the store to talk to Sunghwa and tells him everything. He urges her to delete the recordings, but Suji can't bring herself to make that decision. Not yet. The next day, the 5th group heads off on a school field trip to Busan. After visiting the aquarium, they head to the beach. But even there, Suji keeps quiet about the pressure Harin is putting on her through her father. Later, Harin pulls her aside and drops the real bomb. Her plan is to destroy Suji's friendships, one by one. Meanwhile, Yelim finds out that Eunjeong has dropped out of the swimming tournament. She goes looking for answers and learns that Harin is behind it. Now Harin wants to use Eun as a pawn to convince Yelim to betray Suji too. She's not stopping there. Harin corners Jae-young and starts pulling strings through her brother, who just so happens to have an interview at a law firm where the interviewer used to work for Harin's father's company. That connection gives Harin another point of pressure. Later, the girls go swimming, but suddenly, Harin is shoved into the pool. She can't swim and begins to struggle. Jaeyoon doesn't hesitate. She dives in to save her, and the rest of the girls soon follow. They manage to pull Harin out of the water, but Eun ends up injuring her leg in the chaos. When Mr. Sungwon hears what happened, his only concern is for Harin. He lashes out at the rest of the girls and threatens consequences. He offers to take Harin to the hospital, but she steps on his foot and coldly ignores him. After she storms off, Do-ah confronts Bang-woo. She saw exactly what happened. Bang-woo was the one who pushed Harin. Do-ah warns her not to try that again. At first, Bang-woo denies it, but then admits it. She also points out something even darker. A lot of other girls, including Do-ah herself, just stood there, watching as Harin struggled. No one rushed in, not until Jaeyoon jumped first. Meanwhile, the fathers of the wealthy students gather for a lunch meeting. Do-ah's dad voices his concerns about the pyramid game, calling it unfair. The girls are then transported to their lodging in Busan and divided into 5 groups. Suji's group sticks together, and Yelim joins them. Harin signals Eun to join her own team. Harin even messages Yelim and Jae-hyung, reminding them they must follow her orders. Then things take an unexpected turn. Yelim, Jae-hyung, and Jaeyoon stage a surprise birthday celebration for Suji with cake. The mood lightens, and Yelim posts pictures on Instagram, but those photos catch the attention of Woo-ri, who's clearly obsessed with Yelim. We flash back to see Woo-ri being bullied at school, which explains her fixation. Back in the present, Sung-hwa texts his sister, promising revenge. Bang-woo then confronts Harin, asking why she did nothing when she knew who shoved Harin into the pool. Harin dismisses her, saying there were more important things bothering her and that Bang-woo is irrelevant. Suddenly, Jaeyoon's mom calls. She's tracked her daughter to Busan and shows up to visit. When Jaeyoon meets her outdoors, Harin is right there with them. Jaeyoon's mom brings strawberries and is glad to see her daughter, but Jaeyoon is tense, her eyes never leaving Harin. Harin acts all friendly, urging them to meet more often, which only makes Jaeyoon more uneasy. After Jaeyoon's mom leaves, Harin smashes the strawberries to the ground, mimicking her mother's words that they're best friends. Then she threatens to expose Jaeyoon's secret and reveals that Suji betrayed their friends to protect her father. The next day, the class plays paintball. Eun explains the rules. Anyone hit more than 3 times is out, and one of them will end up ranked F. Yelim approaches Eun to talk about quitting swimming, just as both are shot. Seeing Yelim's second hit, Eun steps in front of her protectively. Meanwhile, Bang-woo challenges Suji, blaming her for ruining the class atmosphere. Suji wins the round, grabs the paintball gun, and fires at Bang-woo. Bang-woo breaks down, begging Suji to stop, terrified of being ranked F. But Suji scolds her for playing the victim now. Harin corners Jaeyoon and shoots her 3 times. Jaeyoon stands still, letting it happen. When the game ends, Suji, Jaeyoon, Jae-young, Eun and Jie have all been hit the most. Eun then orders the others to shoot at each other, calling out a negative trait as they fire. The game only ends when someone runs out of ammo, or if someone gets hit the most, they're ranked F. Just then, Jae-young and Suji receive a message from Harin, urging them to betray their friends. It's another attempt to tear their bond apart. Then, unexpectedly, Ji points her paintball gun at herself and fires, an act of defiance. In a flashback to the night before, the girls gathered to share their fears and revealed how Harin had manipulated them. Jae-young admitted her brother, after losing his career, often abused her, leaving her needing eye surgery. Yelim confessed she no longer sees Eun as a friend because Eun no longer puts career first. The girls rally around Jaeyoon, reassuring her that none of it's her fault. Harin started it all. Back in the present, all 5 girls, Suji, Jaeyoon, Jae-young, Eun and Jie, turn their paintball guns on themselves and fire, each admitting their own flaws. Then in a playful twist, they start complimenting one another and shooting each other while highlighting each other's strengths. Harin watches from a distance. The moment stirs a childhood memory. She recalls being targeted by her classmates in a toy gunfight. But her trip down memory lane is cut short when Eun signals Daeyeon to shut down the happy moment among the F-rank girls. Daeyeon storms over, shouting at them to stop, and chaos breaks out. Eun steps in to de-escalate, but Daeyeon, now completely worked up, shoves her. Eun falls hard, landing on a board with an exposed nail. The girls panic and rush to help, and she's quickly taken to the hospital. Mr. Sung-won, alarmed by the situation, calls the school principal. But rather than address the incident openly, the principal insists they keep things quiet and make sure Yoon Jeong's family doesn't stir up trouble. Meanwhile, Da Yeon is visibly shaken. She vents to Do-ah and Seol-ha, blaming Yoon Byul for pushing her to get involved in the first place. Da Yeon insists this isn't her fault and holds onto the hope that her bestie, Harin, will help smooth things over. But Seol-ha isn't so sure. After all, Harin has never really cared about her. That hits a nerve, and Da Yeon lashes out, calling Seol-ha beneath her because her dad's just Harin's driver, while hers is a business partner. Insulted, Seol-ha walks away. No one in the dorm can sleep. Everyone is worried about Yoon Jeong, wondering if she's going to be okay. Then a knock at the door. It's Mr. Sung-won. He tells the girls that Yoon Jeong has been transferred to a hospital in Seoul for surgery. He insists it was just an unfortunate accident and urges them not to talk about it. As punishment, he gives Da Yeon 2 months of hallway cleaning duty. Soo-ji pushes back, saying the school's violence committee should handle the situation instead, but Mr. Sung-won refuses. Right then, Ye-lim gets a message from Yoon Jeong's coach. The injury has ended her swimming career. It's over. Meanwhile, Da-yeon casually tells Mr. Sung-won that her housekeeper will be doing her punishment for her. That's the last straw for Ye-lim. Furious, she grabs Da-yeon by the hair, but Soo-ji intervenes and pulls her away. Then, a message pops up in their group chat. It's from Harin. She says she's already decided what Da-yeon's punishment will be. The next day, Do-ah visits Yoon Jeong in the hospital. She later sees Ja-yoon and Ye-lim arrive, but avoids running into them. Back at school, Soo-ji tries to rally more support by secretly leaving notes under desks, but only 2 people respond. She then posts in the school group chat, exposing what happened with Yoon Jeong and Da-yoon. Do-ah shows her father that the entire story has already gone viral. It's everywhere online now, thanks to the school chat. Later, Mr. Baek informs Harin that he plans to send her abroad to study. He's reached his limit with her behavior. He adds that he no longer cares if she tries to blackmail him with evidence of his company's financial misdeeds. Confidently, Harin believes her grandmother's loyalty will protect her from being sent away. Next, Mr. Sung-won calls Da-yeon to his office and tells her she's being transferred to another school, though he implies that with enough money from her family, he'll write a glowing reference claiming she was the victim of bullying. At that moment, her furious father bursts in. Harin confronts her mother, the principal, accusing her of being unfair and demanding that Da-yeon keeps her place at the school. Then Harin's grandmother arrives and praises her granddaughter's leadership without hesitation. Late that night, Harin shows up at Ja-yoon's doorstep, cuts her hair off in a dramatic gesture, and sends Ja-yoon a damning article accusing Soo-ji's father of corruption. Ja-yoon calls her mother in distress, who reveals that So-in spilled Ja-yoon's personal secret, and Ja-yoon breaks down in tears. The next day, Soo-ji notices how withdrawn Ja-yoon has become. When she reaches out, Ja-yoon asks not to be pulled into anything, leaving Soo-ji stunned by the sudden change. At school the following morning, Harin surprises everyone with her new haircut. Soo-ji spots strands of Harin's hair on Ja-yoon's shoes and realizes a confrontation must have happened. That night, Soo-ji visits Seung-hwa at his shop and vents about Ja-yoon. He presents audio clips secretly recorded on Ja-yoon's phone, proof that she's still loyal to Soo-ji. He also reveals the article Harin sent, which targets Soo-ji's father. Back home, Soo-ji reads the article while overhearing her father screaming on a call, clearly defending himself against these allegations. The next day, Ja-yoon remains distant, clearly under Harin's influence. Harin's past threat that if Ja-yoon doesn't comply, Soo-ji's life will be a nightmare hangs in the air. Meanwhile, Soo-ji gathers her group on the rooftop, but without Ja-yoon. She explains that Ja-yoon needs time and urges everyone to help prepare for the next vote to rally as many classmates as possible. She even volunteers to drop to rank F if their plan fails, showing how high the stakes are. They manage to recruit more girls. Woo-ri learns that Ye-lim will perform at the school festival, and Soo-ji receives a hidden camera from Seung-hwa to install in their classroom. That Thursday, just days before graduation exams, the school hosts its annual festival. Ye-lim performs with her band, but breaks down in tears afterward. As she leaves the stage, someone in a bear costume quietly follows her. The final bell rings, signaling the 5th group to return to class for the next round of voting. Suddenly, Da-yoon bursts into the room, insisting she's still part of the group and demands to vote. Meanwhile, Ye-lim is rushed to the hospital on a stretcher, leaving Soo-ji stunned and completely shaken. We then flash back to events leading up to Ye-lim's collapse. Soo-ji had sent her a message asking to meet by the pool, At the same time, Singhua climbs to the rooftop to set up a live stream using the hidden camera he placed in the classroom. After her performance, Yalim receives a message from Unjum congratulating her on her debut and apologizing for not being able to attend. But instead of cheering her up, the message breaks her, and Yalim runs off stage in tears. Suji finds her by the pool collapsed and motionless on the floor. Back in the classroom, Doa urges Harin to say a few words before the 16th round of the pyramid game begins. Harin steps up and announces that the class is about to choose one student who will be permanently labeled as a rank F student until graduation. She asks if there are any volunteers and stares straight at Ja-Yun, clearly expecting her to give in. Just then, Suji storms into the room and shoves Harin aside. She speaks directly to everyone, exposing Harin's manipulations, especially what happened to Yelim, who's now in the hospital. Harin demands she stop talking, but Un Baichol steps in, rallying the class to go ahead with the vote for a permanent rank F. Suji pushes back, warning that if they keep playing along with Harin's game, it'll never end, and more people will get hurt. She begs them to delete the pyramid game app once and for all. To Harin's surprise, Ja-Yun finally stands up to her. She refuses to be the scapegoat anymore and becomes the first to delete the app. We get a flashback. Ja-Yun had overheard a conversation between Harin and Un Bayol, where Harin coldly admitted that she planned to make Ja-Yun rank F, just to bait Suji into sacrificing herself in her place. That was the final straw that led Ja-Yun to break free. One by one, the girls begin deleting the app, but they're still short one vote to reach the majority needed to shut it down for good. Then, in a dramatic twist, Da-Yun stands up and deletes the app herself, but Suji quickly reminds her Da-Yun's vote doesn't count. She's no longer part of the class and needs to leave. Furious, Da-Yun lunges at Suji, but Ja-Yun blocks her. So Da-Yun turns her rage on Ja-Yun and begins attacking her. The whole thing is being streamed live, thanks to Seung-hwa's camera setup. Once Ja-Yun realizes everything is being recorded and all the evidence is in place, she stops holding back and fights back. Finally, the last vote comes from Doa. Tired of all the bullying, she chooses to end it. We flash back one more time to see that Suji had asked Doa for help in advance. And it was Doa who planted the hidden camera in the classroom. With 12 out of 22 votes, the pyramid game officially comes to an end. As Seung-hwa leaves the school rooftop, he notices that the live stream has already been taken down. A flashback reveals that Suji had asked him to upload the audio recording in advance, just in case the video got deleted too quickly. She also asked him to look into possible grade tampering by the teachers. Back in the present, Seung-hwa sneaks into the teacher's office while the staff are all rushing to stop the live stream coming from Group 5's classroom. Mr. Seung-won is the first to spot the hidden camera above the board, and Harin's mother, the school's principal, furiously smashes it with the heel of her shoe. But it's too late. The footage is already online and spreading fast. Later, Suji and her friends visit Yalim in the hospital. Thankfully, she's okay. In another flashback, we see Yalim waiting for Suji by the pool when someone dressed in a teddy bear costume starts approaching her. Just as things are about to take a dark turn, Woo-ri bursts in, tackles the figure, and chases them down. Suji suspects that the person in the costume might have been sent by Harin to keep Yalim from attending the vote. Later on, Suji visits Seung-hwa, who shares that he managed to copy several files from Mr. Seung-won's computer, but none of them directly mention the school bullying. Meanwhile, a former teacher named So-yo, who had previously been dismissed, files an official report with the police, exposing the abuse happening at Baekhyun Middle School. Suji then tells Seung-hwa that Woo-ri is still in the building, and he goes off to find her. He realizes that his sister had snuck out earlier, the moment she sensed Yalim might be in danger. Seung-hwa quietly admits that he's proud of her. Meanwhile, Harin asks her mother to transfer her to another school, a request that clearly disappoints her grandmother. Suji's father confronts her about why she never told him what was happening. She calmly replies that he taught her to solve problems on her own. She also brings up a past phone call she overheard, where he had ignored a similar situation at a military camp. Elsewhere, Ja-Yun's mother visits her and tearfully apologizes, admitting she had no idea what her daughter had been going through. The next morning, she offers to let Ja-Yun stay home or even transfer schools, but Ja-Yun refuses, saying she finally has real friends now. Later, Ja-Yun finds Harin's lighter and then finds Harin herself waiting around the corner. Harin tries to remind her of something from their past, but Ja-yoon just silently hands back the lighter and walks away. Meanwhile, the school's anti-bullying committee launches a formal investigation involving Bangwoo, Do-ah, and Sol-ha. Ha-rin's grandmother pleads for her granddaughter to be protected from the fallout. Ha-rin responds by quietly hugging her. The girls from Group 5 are all reassigned to other classrooms. Later, Suji hears from Do-ah that Ha-rin is getting ready to move overseas. Ha-rin's mother then tells Do-ah's father that she has no intention of protecting either Do-ah or Ha-rin because the school's reputation is her top priority. During a press conference, the principal publicly states that the administration had no knowledge of the bullying incidents, but now they'll be taking the appropriate steps. Ha-rin calls Ja-eun from an unknown number and asks to meet. Suji decides to go with her, just in case. They arrive at the location, and before long, Ha-rin shows up. She begins opening up, revealing that she too was once a victim of bullying. Ha-rin explains that it was her idea to have her grandmother build Baekhyun School on the grounds of the orphanage where she used to live. Then she reveals something even more personal. She's adopted, and her real name is So-in. A flashback shows little Ha-rin confiding in Ja-eun, telling her she has no parents. Even though she was doing well in school, her classmates grew jealous and started to pick on her. Trying to help, Ja-eun shared the secret, thinking people would sympathize. But it only made things worse. Now they knew Ha-rin had no one to stand up for her. She first learned about the pyramid game during a class where the teacher talked about social hierarchies. Not knowing anything about it, she only got one answer right, and her punishment was eating just kimchi and sleeping without a blanket. One day, she overheard teachers talking about the Baek family visiting the orphanage, looking to adopt. Hoping to make an impression, Ha-rin performed ballet for the guests. She caught the eye of the Baek family's grandmother and was adopted, but her new parents never truly accepted her. Once she realized that, she focused all her attention on pleasing the grandmother. She worked hard, behaved perfectly, all to stay visible in her eyes. Ja-eun apologizes for her past mistake, but Ha-rin says her betrayal isn't the real reason behind everything. Before she can reveal more, Ha-rin takes some pills. When Ja-eun tries to stop her, Ha-rin lashes out and hits her. Right then, Suji notices that a fire has started in the building, deliberately set by Ha-rin. She grabs Ja-eun and tries to get her out, but Ha-rin collapses from the pills. Despite the danger, Ja-eun runs back to help her. Emergency responders arrive just in time. All three girls are rescued and rushed to the hospital. Meanwhile, Do-ae's father hires someone to publish a tell-all article exposing Ha-rin's history of tormenting students. He does it out of revenge, angry that his daughter was used as a pawn, painted as the main villain in the scandal, while Ha-rin escaped any consequences. After hearing that Ha-rin and Suji were injured in the fire, Ha-rin's mother decides to twist the story in their favor. She hires a popular news YouTuber to edit together clips showing Suji shoving Ha-rin against a wall, trying to make it look like Ha-rin was the one being bullied. At the same time, the school principal tries to discredit the whistleblower, the former teacher, telling police she was just a temp who couldn't handle her duties and is now holding a grudge after being let go. Students who once backed Ha-rin are told to lie during questioning, warned that if they don't, they'll be kicked out of Baekhyun, the elite school. Soon, the internet is flooded with posts portraying Suji as the main aggressor. Police interrogate Suji over the fire at the orphanage, but when they discover a lighter at the scene, one that belonged to Ha-rin, suspicion finally shifts. Suji's father comes to take her home. The next day, Jae-hyung and Ja-eun meet with an independent investigative journalist to expose the truth about the bullying at Baekhyun High. Unbeknownst to them, their conversation is overheard by teacher Cho-ah, who decides to visit her former colleague, So-yo. It turns out that back in September, during a phone call with her husband, Cho-ah accidentally recorded a video showing Daeyeon's group physically harassing Suji. Cho-ah passes this footage on to So-yo, who then gives it to Suji. Later, Suji uploads the video online. The girls from Class 5 begin sharing their own experiences, and Ye-lim records a confession admitting she never intervened during the abuse, though she didn't participate directly. While visiting Yoon-jong in the hospital, Ye-lim leaves a heartfelt message on Yoon-jong's cast, "I miss you, my friend." She sends a snapshot to her biggest fan, Woo-ri, whose joy is uncontainable. Woo-ri, moved by Ye-lim's gesture, tells her brother Sung-hwa what triggered Ha-rin's tormenting of her. Woo-ri bravely records a video revealing all the abuse she suffered, including the mistreatment from homeroom teacher Mr. Sung's sister. Meanwhile, Ja-eun calls Suji with a memory that explains Ha-rin's deep resentment. In a flashback, Ja-eun and Ha-rin reunite at school. Ha-rin recoils, pained by Ja-eun's peaceful life, which Harin herself couldn't enjoy as a child. Back in the present, Jaeyoon meets Suji at the store. Suji reveals she's uncovered exam tampering by Mr. Sung's sister. Soon after, both the school principal and Mr. Sung's sister are arrested for falsifying grades and covering up the bullying. Jaeyoon continues to suffer domestic abuse from her father. Bong-woo's parents commit her to a psychiatric clinic, and Seolha is expelled from the national taekwondo team. All three are expelled from school and barred from entering other elite institutions. Doa is expelled as well. Harin's fate remains unknown. Doa meets Suji at the store. Suji offers support, and Doa admits she deserves what happened. Her father blames her for ruining her future, insisting she study abroad, but Doa refuses. She wants to finish school in Korea and pressures her father, aware of his infidelity with that secret. The Baek family issues a public apology on Harin's behalf, claiming they had no idea about her disturbing behavior. They officially annul her adoption. Jaeyoon confesses to Suji that, despite everything Harin did, she still regrets not standing up for her back when they were kids. She realizes that if she had spoken up then, maybe things could have turned out differently. Maybe Harin wouldn't have become the person she is now. Meanwhile, Harin is being held in a psychiatric facility under a new identity. Suji and Jaeyoon make a promise. Never again will they stay silent. From now on, they'll always speak out against bullying. Ye Lim gives up her idol career and chooses to live a quiet life with Eunjung. Sunghwa says goodbye to Suji before heading off to serve in the military. 2 months pass. The school reopens under new leadership, now run by a private conglomerate called the Mirio Group. Suji and her friends return as seniors in their final year. Then, new students arrive. Twin sisters, daughters of the Mirio Group CEO. Their reason for enrolling? The pyramid game. The whole country's been buzzing about it, and now these new girls are determined to uncover how it really works. In the final scene, the twins are introduced to the class.